Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we crack open the secrets of wealth, innovation, and really the powerful forces shaping all of our financial futures. Today, we're diving into something absolutely essential, I think, for anyone trying to navigate finance today. We're looking deep into the pressures on traditional money, fiat currency, and the really accelerating emergence of digital assets.
Hmm.
If you were with us last time, you'll remember we sort of dug into the how of this digital asset revolution.
Yeah, the mechanics, the infrastructure.
Exactly. We look at those key players building the rails, you could say, for this new economy. Companies like the crypto miner Bitmine.
Literally powering the network.
Right, powering the computational backbone. And then you have the stablecoin giant Circle providing those really crucial digital on-ramps and off-ramps.
Connecting the old world and the new.
Allowing traditional money to actually interact pretty seamlessly with this new digital world.
Right.
We called them the digital picks and shovels.
A good analogy, foundational stuff.
But, that's only half the story. To really, really grasp the size of this opportunity, we're talking multi-trillion dollars unfolding right now. You have to understand the why.
Exactly. The technology is fascinating, but why is it gaining traction?
Why is this massive shift happening? Why now? Why are people, institutions, even entire countries starting to question the money in their bank accounts?
The dollars, the euros, the yen.
Yeah. Why move away from that towards something like cryptocurrency, which, let's be honest, often seems volatile. It's often misunderstood.
It's definitely got a reputation.
It's not just about the tech, is it? It feels like a fundamental shift in trust and in what we perceive as value.
Absolutely. It
Yeah.
goes much deeper than just new software.
So today, that's our journey. We're exploring that why. We're going to guide you through, the hidden secrets of money itself, you could say. We'll peel back the layers of history, look at how our global financial system actually evolved, and maybe expose some of those vulnerabilities that I think many of us feel.
Implicitly.
Yeah, implicitly feel, but maybe we don't always articulate. We'll go from ancient barter, the chaos of that,
Right.
to the stability, the undeniable stability for a time of gold. Then through this, let's call it the grand fiat experiment,
The currency.
and finally land in the crypto era and its revolutionary promise. And along the way, we'll be pulling in insights from some really sharp minds. Michael Saylor, Luke Belmar, Tom Lee, Marc Andreessen, Andreas Antonopoulos.
Heavy hitters in the space.
Definitely. We'll use their direct quotes, their wisdom. And maybe most crucially for your financial future right now, we need to unpack the Genius Act.
That's the big one. The Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins Act.
Signed just last month, July 18th, 2025, by President Trump. We need to talk about what that really means. For stablecoins, yes, but also for innovation and, frankly, for your financial planning.
It's a potential game changer.
This isn't just theory, folks. It's a wake-up call. It's about decoding these forces that might be silently eroding your wealth and hopefully empowering you with some understanding. So let's start at the beginning. Let's unpack money itself.
Okay. Where do we begin?
Well, to really get why things are shifting so dramatically now, we kind of have to go way back, right back to the start of exchange,
Yeah.
and maybe look at the failures along the way.
History repeating itself, perhaps?
Maybe. Imagine, it's about 6,000 BCE. Ancient Mesopotamia, the Fertile Crescent. Forget banks, forget cards, forget even coins.
Just goods for goods.
Pure barter. You're a farmer, you've got extra wheat, great. But you need tools from the blacksmith?
Simple enough if the blacksmith needs wheat.
What if he needs clay pots? Or wool? Or something you don't have? That's the core problem, isn't it? Economists call it the
double coincidence of wants. A great term.
It sounds simple, but it's huge. Both people need to have exactly what the other wants at exactly the same time.
And that just doesn't scale, does it? It works maybe in a tiny village, but for any real societal growth, it's a massive bottleneck.
Totally. Think about specializing your labor. If you can't easily trade what you make for what you need,
You're stuck. Your economic activity is incredibly limited. Wealth can't really accumulate easily. Large-scale trade is almost impossible. It holds back everything.
so the pressure to find a better way must have been immense. And, solutions started popping up. Around 3000 BCE, you get commodity money.
Right, things with some intrinsic value used as a medium of exchange.
Shells, like cowrie shells in parts of ancient China. Salt, even the root of the word salary, right, used in the Roman Empire.
Salt was incredibly valuable back then for preservation.
But these things still had issues, didn't they? Durability, maybe divisibility, universal acceptance.
Yeah, not perfect. Salt dissolves, shells break. You need something better.
And then around 600 BCE, in Lydia, modern-day Turkey, something big happens. The first widely circulated coins, made of electrum, which is...
A natural gold and silver alloy.
Yeah. And soon after that, you get pure gold and silver coins becoming common. But the key question for us is, why gold? What made this one metal the foundation for finance for literally thousands of years?
Gold was just uniquely suited. It has this almost perfect storm of characteristics for money.
Like what?
Well, first, scarcity. You can't just make more gold easily. The supply doesn't suddenly explode, which gives it a natural check against, well, inflation.
Okay, so it holds its value because it's rare.
Right. Then, durability. It doesn't rust, it doesn't corrode. Gold artifacts from thousands of years ago are still around, so it's an excellent store of value over long periods.
Makes sense.
It's also easily divisible. You can make small coins, large bars, melt it down, reshape it. It doesn't lose its fundamental value, allows for transactions of all sizes.
Okay.
And, importantly, it's portable. Dense, high value, and a small volume. Easy to carry, easy to transport compared to, say, carting around bushels of wheat.
Right. Much easier than salt, probably.
Definitely. And these attributes weren't just local. They were recognized everywhere. That universal acceptance made it the natural choice, leading eventually to the gold standard, solidifying in the 19th century. Britain in 1821, the U.S. later in 1879.
And that era, the classical gold standard, it was powerful. Currencies were directly pegged to a fixed amount of gold,
A defined length.
which gave this incredible stability for global trade. But also, and this is key, it acted as a check on governments.
A big one.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't just print gold.
Exactly. Their ability to create money was limited by the physical gold they actually held in their vaults. Milton Friedman, the economist, he nailed it when he said the gold standard was,
A way of ensuring that the government doesn't cheat.
precisely. During that period, roughly 1870 to 1914, world trade boomed, inflation was incredibly low, almost non-existent sometimes.
Prices were stable,
Mhm.
predictable. Businesses could plan long-term because there was this tangible limit on money creation.
That discipline, that self-imposed restraint on governments, that's the core insight, isn't it?
Absolutely. It meant governments couldn't just easily inflate away their debts or fund massive spending sprees. Without real consequences, they'd see their gold reserves drain away.
So it offered predictability, stability, it fostered investment, global integration. It really was seen as the bedrock of sound money. Your savings were protected from, politicians just deciding to print more.
It seemed like a solid, almost perfect system for its time.
Yet, this seemingly unbreakable system, it started to crack under pressure, big pressure. The first real test was World War I, starting in 1914.
Right. Suddenly the game changed.
Totally. Governments were facing these unbelievable costs, funding industrial warfare tanks, artillery, huge armies. The constraints of the gold standard just became unbearable.
They needed money, fast,
Mhm.
more money than their gold reserves could back.
So what did they do? They suspended gold convertibility. They basically cut the link between their currency and gold so they could print the money they needed for the war effort.
A monumental decision.
It really was. And it revealed the gold standard's deep vulnerability. When it came down to it, in a national crisis, the need for flexibility for printing money outweighed the desire for that metallic discipline.
It showed that the rules of money weren't absolute. They could be bent or even broken if the political will was strong enough, especially in wartime, a dangerous precedent.
If World War I showed the cracks, then the Great Depression, well, that just shattered the system. Starting in 1929, plunging the world into a decade of economic hell.
It exposed the rigidity of the gold standard in a downturn.
Brutally. As the economy tanked, gold shortages actually made things worse, fueling deflation, falling prices.
Which sounds good, but it's devastating in a depression. It cripples businesses, stops investment, leads to bankruptcy.
Exactly. Mass unemployment, people losing their homes. The lack of monetary flexibility meant central banks couldn't easily inject money to stimulate demand. Economies were trapped.
A vicious cycle. It was a period of just immense suffering, immense instability.
And it forced a major rethink, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Economists, especially John Maynard Keynes, argued very forcefully that the gold standard's inability to allow for monetary expansion was a key reason the Depression was so severe and lasted so long.
You couldn't fight back against the downturn.
Precisely. The fixed money supply stopped governments from using tools like increasing spending or cutting interest rates when they were most needed. The lesson learned was painful. Stability above all else could lead to catastrophic rigidity during shocks.
And that lesson, that trauma really led directly to the final break, the climax, the birth of pure fiat money.
The system we live in today.
Right. After the war, after the Depression, everyone agreed a new system was needed. So in 1944, you get the Bretton Woods Agreement.
A major international conference.
Yeah. And this system tied most world currencies to the US dollar. And the dollar itself was still backed by gold, but at a fixed rate, $35 an ounce.
So it was a hybrid system, trying to get the best of both worlds, some gold discipline via the dollar link, but more flexibility than the old standard.
And it kind of worked. For a while, it definitely fostered a lot of global economic growth, this period of relative stability. The US dollar became the undisputed world reserve currency.
It was a compromise, really. Learning from the past, the U.S., with its huge gold reserves, acted as the anchor. It enabled a massive expansion of trade, investment, that whole post-war boom.
But even that carefully built system started to buckle. The immense costs of the Vietnam War, plus rising U.S. domestic spending in the late 60s.
Started draining those U.S. gold reserves.
Exactly. Other countries saw the U.S. printing more dollars without adding more gold, got nervous about the dollar's value, and started asking for their gold back, trading in their dollars as per the agreement.
The system was under strain.
Until finally, August 1971, President Nixon makes this absolutely shocking announcement. He unilaterally ends the dollar's convertibility to gold, period.
The Nixon shock.
Pulled the plug. Designed to protect America's dwindling gold reserves and give the government total economic flexibility. It sent shockwaves around the world. It fundamentally changed money for everyone.
And that moment, right there, that's the birth certificate of pure fiat money. Not just for the U.S., but globally, as most other countries eventually followed suit.
From that day on, the US dollar, and by extension, the whole global financial system, wasn't backed by anything tangible. No gold, no silver.
Nothing. Just government decree. Fiat means let it be done in Latin, and the trust people placed in the government managing the economy. A complete break from thousands of years of monetary history.
And Nixon's Treasury Secretary at the time, John Connally, he reportedly told European leaders something chilling.
Ah, yes, the famous line. The dollar is our currency, but it's your problem.
Oof. That just perfectly captures it, doesn't it? The U.S. now had incredible freedom to print dollars, manage its own economy, but the consequences, inflation, devaluation, would ripple out globally.
Exporting inflation, essentially.
So we moved from a system tethered, however imperfectly, to a physical anchor, to this new era of pure fiat. It promised flexibility, responsiveness.
A modern solution.
But what were the hidden costs? Who really benefited from this grand experiment? The answer, when you dig in, is, well, it's pretty unsettling.
Yeah, the flexibility came at a price.
So this pure fiat system, it arrives promising all these benefits. Flexibility, growth stimulation, quick responses to crises. Seems modern, sophisticated, right? No more barbarous relic like gold holding us back.
That was the sales pitch, essentially.
But what if? What if that flexibility is actually maybe a carefully constructed illusion? A system designed with, let's say, inherent flaws that quietly, relentlessly eat away at your wealth.
This is where it gets really interesting and maybe a little concerning for savers.
Let's pull back that curtain. The absolute core flaw, the engine of this illusion, is inflation.
Right. And it's more than just prices going up at the store. It's insidious. It's often called the silent thief.
Because it steals your purchasing power. Over time, without you necessarily noticing day to day, the money you worked hard for last year buys less this year.
And importantly, this isn't just some random market fluctuation. It's almost a feature of unbacked fiat currency, not a bug.
Exactly. Let's make this concrete with the rule of 72. Simple math, but powerful. Divide 72 by the annual inflation rate.
And that tells you roughly how many years it takes for the purchasing power of your money to be cut in half.
So let's take a seemingly modest 3% inflation rate. That was the target for years, right?
Considered manageable, yes.
Okay, 72 divided by 3 is 24. In just 24 years, $100 saved today buys only, what, $50 buys now? Half its value gone? Poof.
Think about retirement savings over 30, 40 years. It's devastating.
And recently, post-COVID, U.S. inflation hit 9.1% in 2022. That wasn't just a number on a chart. That was a direct, brutal hit to people's savings.
Wiped out value instantly.
And at the same time, it actually shrank the real burden of debt for borrowers. If you owed money, you were effectively paying it back with cheaper dollars.
A transfer of wealth hidden in plain sight.
So why does this happen? Why the constant erosion? It comes back to that lack of backing, right?
Precisely. Unlike gold, there's no natural limit on how much fiat currency can be created. Governments, through their central banks, can essentially print endlessly.
Or, more accurately these days, just create digital entries on a ledger.
Right. Click a button, look at the USM2 money supply. That's cash, checking, savings, easy to convert stuff. It jumped, what was it? A staggering 40% between 2020 and 2021 alone.
40%. A massive flood of new money, ostensibly to stimulate the economy during the pandemic.
Which it did in some ways. But it also directly fueled huge asset bubbles. Real estate, stocks, crypto even, prices went wild.
Meanwhile, for many people earning wages, their income didn't keep up. They got left behind as their purchasing power got diluted by all that new money.
Classic inflation effect. More money chasing the same amount of goods and services eventually.
And this isn't new. Kenneth Rogoff, the Harvard economist, wrote a book, The Curse of Cash. He warns about this directly.
What does he say?
He says essentially that the overproduction of fiat money risks inflation or even hyperinflation. He's pointing out the inherent danger.
And history backs him up, unfortunately. We don't have to look far for examples.
Weimar Germany, 1923. Printing money like crazy to pay war debts. Prices doubling every few days. People needed wheelbarrows for cash just to buy bread.
Savings utterly destroyed, led to massive social chaos.
More recently, Zimbabwe, 2008. Inflation hit. What was the number? 231 million%. Their currency became worthless.
Just unimaginable.
And Venezuela today, still battling hyperinflation. The bolivar is basically useless for everyday life.
These aren't just abstract economic events. They're human tragedies fueled by the failure of fiat money. They show the endgame of unchecked printing.
Okay, so this brings us to the really crucial question, the elephant in the room. Who actually benefits from this system, this endless printing, this silent theft of value? If it's not the average saver, the wage earner, then who?
Well, when you follow the money, two main beneficiaries stand out pretty clearly: banks and governments.
Let's start with the banks. How do they profit from this?
They operate using fractional reserve banking. It sounds complicated, but the concept is simple. You deposit, say, $1,000. The bank doesn't just hold that $1,000.
Right, they only have to keep a small percentage in reserve. Maybe 10%, so $100 in this case.
Exactly. And the rest, the other $900, they lend it out to someone else. At interest. They essentially create new money or credit in the process.
And they charge interest on that $900 loan.
Often significant interest, much higher than what they pay you on your original deposit. They pocket that difference, the spread.
And what do I, the saver, get on my $1,000?
Typically very little, maybe less than 1% annual percentage yield, often much less, which, as we just discussed, is almost always below the rate of inflation.
So my money is actually losing purchasing power while sitting in the bank?
While the bank is using your money to generate much larger returns for itself, lending it out or investing it in markets potentially yielding 5%, 10%, maybe more.
Wow. Tom Lee from Fundstrat, he put it bluntly, didn't he?
He did. He said banks effectively slave users with low returns while profiting massively. It's a strong statement, but it highlights the imbalance.
Your savings become their profit engine, with minimal benefit back to you. And this whole system, it's fragile too, isn't it? Bank runs.
Absolutely. Look at Silicon Valley Bank in 2023.
Yeah.
$40 billion pulled out in hours. It became the second largest U.S. bank failure ever. It shows how quickly confidence can evaporate in that fractional system. Your deposits aren't always as safe as you assume.
Okay, so banks benefit massively. What about governments?
Governments benefit hugely through something called seigniorage. Fancy word, simple idea.
What is it?
It's the profit a government makes from issuing currency. Think about it. It costs maybe a few cents to print a $100 bill, but that bill could be used to buy $100 worth of goods or services.
So the difference is pure profit for the government.
Essentially, yes. It allows them to fund spending huge deficits, wars, social programs, without directly taxing citizens for the full amount. It's like a hidden tax.
How is it a hidden tax?
Because when they create new money, it dilutes the value of all the existing money held by everyone else. It's inflation, funded by the printing press, rather than direct taxation.
And the result of all this government spending, funded partly by seigniorage.
Ballooning national debts. The U.S. debt is what, $35 trillion now? Around 120% of GDP. Japan is over 260% of GDP. Astronomical numbers.
Who ultimately pays for that?
We all do. Through that diluted value of our money, through future taxes or reduced government services down the line. And the system also fuels asset inflation stocks, real estate, which disproportionately benefits the wealthy who already own those assets.
While the rest of us holding cash or earning wages lose ground. It widens the gap.
It certainly contributes significantly to wealth inequality.
And there's another angle here too, isn't there? The control aspect, this idea of debanking.
Yeah, that's deeply concerning. Marc Andreessen talked about this on Joe Rogan's podcast. He called debanking a kind of privatized sanctions regime, meaning individuals or businesses can be kicked out of the banking system, denied financial services, not by a court order, but by the decision of a bank or payment processor.
Based on what?
Sometimes, worryingly, based on politics or perceived risk or association. Andreessen mentioned tech founders being debanked for their wrong politics. It echoes things like Operation Choke Point, where the government pressured banks to cut off politically unpopular but legal industries.
So your access to your own money, your ability to transact, isn't guaranteed. It can be switched off.
In the current centralized system, yes, that power exists. It's arbitrary and lacks due process often. It highlights the immense power concentrated within banks and payment networks.
That's chilling. And Andreas Antonopoulos, another expert, he touched on the lack of transparency too, right?
Yeah, on Rogan as well. He said something like, a system that's very opaque, you can make the most money without anyone noticing. He suggested the fiat system, with its constant need for bailouts and money printing, can actually help prevent washing out frauds.
Meaning the complexity and the constant flow of new money can hide bad behavior.
It can certainly make it harder to spot and root out. The opacity benefits those who understand how to navigate it, potentially at the expense of everyone else.
So, summing this up, the reality seems to be that your money, our money, is constantly under threat. From inflation's silent erosion, from the potential for arbitrary debanking, from the opaqueness that benefits insiders. It feels, well, rigged.
It's certainly a system with inherent flaws and power imbalances that tend to disadvantage the average person.
But, and this is the crucial pivot, amidst all this, amidst the 2008 crisis, the bailouts, the growing distrust, a solution emerged, a potential escape hatch.
Right, when faith in the traditional system was arguably at its lowest point.
Exactly. October 2008, the financial world is melting down, banks are failing, getting bailed out, trust is gone.
And then, quietly, this paper appears online.
From someone calling themselves Satoshi Nakamoto, anonymous, the paper titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system.
And Satoshi didn't mince words about the problem they were trying to solve.
No, the white paper states it clearly. The root problem with conventional currency is all the trust that's required. The central bank must be trusted not to debase the currency, but the history of fiat currencies is full of breaches of that trust.
Right there, pointing directly at the failure that was unfolding in real time.
And Bitcoin's solution was radical. It used this new technology, blockchain,
A distributed, immutable ledger.
to solve the double spending problem, making sure you can't spend the same digital money twice without needing a bank or a government or any central intermediary.
Trust was shifted away from fallible human institutions towards mathematics, cryptography, and the consensus of a distributed network, a total paradigm shift.
And what's amazing is how directly Bitcoin addresses the flaws of fiat we just talked about. Let's break it down. First, the biggest one. Fix a fly.
This is absolutely fundamental. Only 21 million Bitcoin will ever exist. It's hard-coded into the protocol.
No printing press, no inflation games, no central bank deciding to dilute the supply.
Exactly. It's inherently anti-inflationary by its very design, predictable scarcity, digital gold in a sense.
All right, huge difference number one. What else?
Peer-to-peer transactions. Bitcoin moves directly from one person's digital wallet to another's.
Bypassing banks entirely.
Completely. No bank fees taking a cut, no multi-day settlement delays, no central party having control over whether your transaction goes through. It puts the power back in the hands of the users.
Financial sovereignty. And then there's decentralization.
Crucial. Because there's no central server, no single company or government running Bitcoin, transactions can't be easily censored. Accounts can't be arbitrarily frozen.
Like the debanking risk we discussed.
Precisely. Bitcoin offers censorship resistance. It's money that, in theory, cannot be easily confiscated or controlled by a single authority. True financial autonomy.
These aren't just abstract ideas, they're driving a whole new philosophy. And you hear it from people like Luke Belmar.
Yeah, he has some strong takes, calling fiat synthetic money endlessly printed. He says, money is energy. Fiat violates natural law.
Implying that this unbacked creation of money is fundamentally unstable.
That seems to be his point, that it breaks fundamental principles of scarcity and value tied to real-world energy or effort.
And Michael Saylor, He uses that great analogy.
Fiat is a melting ice cube. Its value just constantly drips away due to inflation. He contrasts that starkly with Bitcoin's fixed 21 million cap, arguing it preserves value over the long term, a hedge against fiat's decay.
And looking beyond Bitcoin, Tom Lee at Fundstrat, he's incredibly bullish on Ethereum, ETH, predicting, what was it, $15,000 by 2025.
Yeah, a bold call.
Yeah.
But he backs it up with some powerful trends shaping the ecosystem.
Like what? What's driving that optimism?
Okay, first, tokenization. This is huge. Taking real-world assets, real estate, art, stocks, bonds, and representing them as digital tokens on a blockchain like Ethereum.
Making them easier to trade, more accessible.
Exactly. More liquid, transparent, potentially reaching a global market instantly. Lee thinks something like 60% of real-world assets could eventually end up tokenized, much of it on Ethereum.
Wow. Okay, what else?
Stablecoins. Their continued growth, like Circle's USDC, now over $30 billion market cap. These provide reliable, regulated digital dollars, essential for everyday transactions, remittances, bridging traditional finance and crypto without the volatility.
A stable entry point. Makes sense.
And finally, staking yields. On platforms like Ethereum, you can lock up your ETH to help secure the network that's staking and earn rewards, currently around 3–5% APY.
Which is way better than a bank savings account.
Massively better. It's a real attractive return, pulling capital into the ecosystem, offering a superior alternative to the crumbs, as Lee calls them, from traditional banks.
Okay, so tokenization, stablecoins, staking yields, powerful drivers. But here's the thing, this isn't just future gazing, is it? It's happening now. It's a lifeline for people in countries where fiat is failing.
Absolutely critical point. This is not theory, it's reality for millions. Look at Argentina, inflation over 200%. What's the crypto adoption rate?
I think it's around 17%. Huge. People using stablecoins just to preserve their savings from evaporating day by day.
Exactly. It's a tool for survival. Or Venezuela. After that insane hyperinflation, 89,000%.
Unthinkable.
Bitcoin became essential for receiving money from family abroad remittances and even for basic shopping, because the bolivar was useless.
Necessity, not speculation.
Absolutely. Nigeria, too. The naira dropped 50% against the dollar last year. Now 6.5 million Nigerians use crypto, seeking an alternative, seeking stability their own currency can't provide.
Even El Salvador making Bitcoin legal tender, a whole country. It's bumpy, sure, but it shows the direction of travel.
It demonstrates the potential when fiat systems fundamentally fail. If fiat is becoming useless in these places, the global shift towards alternatives seems, well, inevitable.
And it really is about empowerment, isn't it? Antonopoulos' phrase comes back, the Internet of Money.
Open, borderless, global requires no permission. That's powerful. Think about refugees memorizing their seed phrase, those 12 or 24 words that are the key to their crypto wallet.
Carrying their life savings in their head, safe from confiscation.
Exactly. Or people bypassing financial freezes, like we saw with the Canadian trucker protests. Crypto offered a way around centralized shutdowns. It's immutable resistance.
No, we have to be balanced. Crypto isn't perfect. It's volatile. There are scams. There are risks. We've covered those before.
Important caveats, it's still a nascent technology, relatively speaking.
But if you frame those as growing pains, part of any major technological shift, the bigger picture seems clear. It's a powerful move towards financial sovereignty, driven by the failures of the old system.
A fundamental reshaping of value and control.
Okay, so if the flaws of fiat and the solutions of crypto feel like this powerful, maybe slow-moving tide, well, something just happened that feels like a massive wave, accelerating everything.
You're talking about the Genius Act.
Exactly. Huge news. Just last month, July 18th, 2025, President Trump signs the Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins Act. Genius Act.
Landmark legislation, truly. The first major, comprehensive federal framework in the U.S. specifically for payment stablecoins.
Like USDC. And what does it mandate?
Crucially, it requires these stablecoins to be fully backed, one-to-one, by low-risk, highly liquid reserves. Think cash, U.S. Treasury bills, things that ensure stability and trust.
So, proper backing, verifiable reserves. What are the implications of this? They seem massive.
Oh, profound. First, regulatory clarity. This has been the big roadblock for years. The uncertainty, the gray areas, it's scared off big institutions, serious corporate money.
Understandably.
This act defines the rules. That clarity reduces risk, builds trust, and that's absolutely critical for mainstream adoption. It opens the floodgates for institutional capital that's been waiting on the sidelines.
So it's not just acceptance, it's almost an invitation.
You could see it that way. It signals a clear green light from the U.S. government. It tells investors, innovators, entrepreneurs, this space is legitimate, it's regulated, it's safe to build and invest here. It fosters a secure environment for growth.
And this has global implications too, right? The U.S. taking the lead.
Definitely. The White House messaging around it was clear. This positions America to lead the global digital asset revolution. It's about staying competitive, ensuring the U.S. remains at the forefront of financial innovation, not letting other countries dictate the future of money.
Maintaining that edge, what's the reaction been like globally?
Generally very positive. Experts, even at places like the World Economic Forum, are calling it a milestone. They see it as a smart way to encourage innovation while managing risks, avoiding chaos. It suggests a more mature, integrated approach is emerging.
Okay, so for the average person, for you listening, what does this mean practically?
It means stablecoins become an even more reliable, transparent, and crucially government-regulated bridge between your traditional bank account and the crypto world. The volatility risk is significantly reduced for these specific assets.
So a safe digital dollar.
Backed by solid reserves, yes. Imagine easy, instant global transfers, potentially earning better yield than your bank offers, all with the confidence that comes from a clear federal framework. It opens up new possibilities for managing your money.
And connecting this back to everything we've discussed, the Genius Act isn't just happening in a vacuum, is it?
Not at all. It's a direct response, a recognition by a major world power of fiat's inherent problems, the inflation, the control issues, the value erosion. These are pushing people and capital towards alternatives. The government is acknowledging this shift is real and needs structure.
It's an accelerant. You look at the returns. The magnificent 7 tech stocks, what was it, nearly 700% over 10 years.
Dramatically outperforming cash sitting in a bank, losing value to inflation.
Right. Crypto, especially now with regulated stablecoins providing a safer entry point, offers another avenue. Not just trying to beat inflation, but potentially offering real growth, plus the utility of digital transactions.
It really shifts the perspective. Maybe exposure to digital assets, particularly regulated ones, shouldn't be seen just as speculation anymore.
But as what?
As potentially a crucial hedge. Diversification against the long-term risks baked into the fiat system. Similar to how people have used gold historically, it's about protecting wealth in a changing world.
That makes the Genius Act seem even more significant. It's pouring fuel on this fire. Michael Saylor's prediction, Bitcoin at $250 trillion market cap, sounds insane.
It's certainly ambitious.
But legislation like this governmental embrace, maybe makes those previously unthinkable numbers, well, slightly less unthinkable. It shows the direction the mainstreaming is happening fast.
It signals that this isn't a fringe movement anymore. It's becoming a central part of the future financial system.
Okay, so what a journey. We've gone from the absolute basics of barter,
That double coincidence of wants?
to the discipline and shine of gold, then through the, let's call it the illusion and the hidden costs of pure fiat money.
Melting ice cube.
And finally, landing here in the potential, the revolutionary promise of cryptocurrency, now increasingly getting regulatory clarity. You've hopefully uncovered some of the hidden gears, the forces influencing your money every day.
And the big takeaway, I think, is that money isn't just neutral. It's deeply connected to power, to trust, and ultimately to your freedom.
Yeah. And the fiat system, for all its convenience, seems structured in ways that often benefit the insiders, the banks, the governments, through inflation, through control, often at the expense of the average person.
A silent thief is always at work.
And this is the empowering part. You don't have to just sit back and watch it happen. You don't have to be a passive victim.
Knowledge is power here.
Absolutely. That's why we do this. We really urge you, educate yourself, understand these dynamics, invest wisely based on that understanding. Exploring digital assets, it's not about gambling recklessly.
No, it's about understanding the shift and potentially reclaiming some financial control, diversifying, securing your future in this new landscape.
It's about strategic positioning. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. If this conversation sparked something, made you think, please share it, rate us, join the discussion on our site. We feed off that engagement.
We appreciate you tuning in.
We'll be back next time, cracking open another vital piece of our financial world. Until then, keep digging, keep questioning, crack the code. Your future wealth really does depend on it. Stay invested, stay inspired.